on some earplugs and start hacking.
I've only been building bikes from scratch for the last year, you know, whereas I was rebuilding and modifying and customizing bikes for about like 8 years or 7 years or something like that. And again, in varying degrees of good. You know, at one point it was just like, oh, I think these handlebars would look really cool, you know? And then it gets to a point where you're like, this is a dialed in machine that eats road, you know what I mean? And that somebody's gonna love. You know, it's artistic, it's beautiful, it's everything, and it takes somebody putting their ass on the thing and rolling out. And I was just like, it's what I've been working towards. My first bike memory is in nursery school, I'd have to say. They had this whole room in this church that we'd go to when I was like 2 or 3, whenever you're in nursery school. But it was just full of these other styles of bikes that I hadn't seen, you know? Like some of them had like pedals in the back, and some of them had pedals in the front, some of them had 3 wheels, some of them didn't, some of them were made with wood, some of them were like, you know, these really just cool little shapes. And I remember as a kid just being like, wow. And then seeing everybody just kind of motoring around on this stuff, it was just like, I don't know, just joyful. That's like so much fun. I love being out in the open. I love having that like I don't have a seatbelt on. There's nothing around me. Like it's me and this thing, and it's just like, it's one of my favorite feelings in the world to just feel like, you know, and the most stripped down bike possible, you know, like nothing there besides you and that bike. Beyond the past experience, this was the first one that was like me hanging out here and realizing like I could cut up old bikes down to components, not just like chunks of it and rebuild it. I was like, no, I'm gonna take it down to brass tacks and start over. And so this is what I came up with. There's nothing better, in my opinion, than just like tearing out across Manhattan or through Brooklyn or down to like the Rockaways, or, you know, like taking like a solid ride where you're not like getting somewhere. You're just riding and having a good time. I'm proud of that bike. But I love all my babies. Every single one. I mean, I've made hundreds of bikes for people, and like, people still ride them and send me stories of how like great it is to be biking to work at 6 in the morning to the bakery and like just have a bike that just rides right and they feel good on, you know? And it's like years later, that touches me, you know? And finding out that it hasn't been to the bike shop except for like have some little cable adjusted, you know? It's like, all right. You know, I did him a solid. Things been solid since then.